Discover the miraculous journey of Genesis, revelations of faith, divine blessings, and transformation in the life of Joseph. In the land of Canaan, during the time of the patriarchs, all eyes were on Jacob's son Joseph, who was clothed in a coat of many colors, a gift from his father that marked him as the favored child. Jealousy simmered among his 11 brothers as Joseph, overflowing with youthful dreams, recounted tales of how the stars bowed to him, igniting the flames of anger within their hearts. The air was thick with tension, whispering of betrayals yet to come as familial love twisted into strife. One fateful day, Jacob summoned Joseph, instructing him to tend to the sheep far from home. As Joseph approached his brothers, the sight of his vibrant coat only intensified their resentment. In a fit of rage, they conspired against him. They stripped him of his beloved coat and cast him into a deep pit, thinking he would perish there. Yet, even as the sun dipped below the horizon, God's unseen hand was at work, weaving a plan more intricate than they could comprehend. Soon, a caravan of Ishmaelite traders passed by, and Joseph was sold into slavery, transported to the bustling land of Egypt, a realm of wonders and treachery. The journey was fraught with despair and the cries of merchants as Joseph clung to the Lord in prayer, seeking wisdom amidst suffering. His heart bore the weight of abandonment, yet he held on to the faith inherited from his forefathers. Arriving in Egypt, Joseph caught the eye of Potiphar, an official of Pharaoh. The favor of the Lord rested upon Joseph, allowing him to rise within Potiphar's household as a trusted steward. However, trials infiltrated his newfound life when Potiphar's wife, captivated by his strength and beauty, sought to seduce him. Choosing faithfulness over temptation, Joseph fled, leaving behind a cloak of false accusation that cast him into the darkness of prison. In the depths of despair, Joseph's spirit remained unbroken. He interpreted the dreams of fellow captives, drawing upon a divine gift, furthering his own faith amidst adversity. Days turned into years, and still the Lord was with him. When Pharaoh's dreams, laden with divine meaning, tormented him, it was Joseph's turn once again to rise. He interpreted Pharaoh's dreams, foretelling 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine, grasping the threads of God's providence amidst his pain. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey. I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now, let's continue with what the Lord did next. As Joseph oversaw the gathering of grain, his thoughts drifted toward Canaan, where his family endured the toll of the famine he had predicted. Little did he know, the brothers who betrayed him would soon find themselves standing before him, desperate for help. The threads of their betrayal wove a tapestry of divine intrigue that shimmered with the possibility of reconciliation. Would Joseph embrace his tormentors with forgiveness, or would the scars of the past dictate his path? As his brothers' figures loomed before him, the tension of fate hung in the air, laden with years of hurt and healing. Joseph stood at the precipice of redemption, grappling with the divine mystery of God's unfolding plan, one that promised not only personal restoration, but a testament of faith for generations ahead. When the brothers of Joseph arrived in Egypt, their hearts trembled with fear and uncertainty. Unknown to them, the ruler they faced was the very brother they had betrayed and sold into slavery. Yet they approached him with humility, desperate for aid. "Sir, we are sons of one man," they pleaded. "We have come to buy food, for the famine has gripped our land harshly." They bowed low, their faces pressed to the ground, fulfilling the dreams Joseph had once shared, where sheaves of grain bowed before his own. Joseph, clad in the garments of authority, observed their frailty, and remembered the years spent in anguish. His heart ached as memories surged within him. Echoes of laughter turned to cries of despair, the vibrant coat stained with betrayal weighing so heavily upon his soul. Though he recognized them, Joseph concealed his identity, feigning harshness. "You are spies," he declared, his voice resolute. "You have come to see the nakedness of the land." His words dripped with an authority that masked his true intentions, igniting dread among his brothers. "Nay, my lord," they responded, their spirits crushed. "We are but servants. We have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man, brothers from the same mother. One brother is no more, and the youngest remains with our father." In this moment, Joseph's heart wrestled with his grief and their guilt. "Prove your words are true," he demanded. "If you are honest men, you must bring your youngest brother, lest I know your claims are but lies." The brothers looked at one another, fear swimming in their eyes. Ashamed, they realized the consequences of their actions, the weight of their sin pressing upon them like a yoke. They agreed, uncertain of what lay ahead, but compelled by the dread of starvation. Days turned into weeks, and Joseph continued to test their integrity. He provided their needs, yet concealed his identity, torn between their offenses and the potential for forgiveness. As he watched them grappling with their guilt, he became more convinced of their transformation. They spoke among themselves of their past might, acknowledging their wrongdoings, lamenting how they had sold their beloved brother. "Surely this is the punishment for our sin," they said. "We are being paid back for the blood of our brother." Unbeknownst to them, Joseph listened intently, his heart softened by the sight of their remorse. Overwhelmed by emotion, he turned away and wept, tears of sorrow and hope mingling as he prayed for their deliverance and for the reunion that might still come to pass. Finally, he decided to reveal himself, yearning to see the truth of their hearts. "I am Joseph," he proclaimed, his voice breaking the air like thunder. The brothers froze, horror engulfing them as they beheld the one they had wronged standing before them in the fullness of his power. "Do not be distressed," he said, a calm grace embracing his tone. "What you meant for evil, God meant for good, to bring about this very moment, a time of saving many lives." Here, the moment unveiled was not merely for personal reconciliation, but a manifestation of God's sovereign plan, to weave together a family once fractured into a testimony of faith, forgiveness, and divine providence, stretching beyond their comprehension. What would become of Joseph's family in the face of this newfound truth? How would God's intricate design unfold in their lives? And what legacy would spring forth from their unity? The echoes of destiny lingered in the air, weaving the threads of hope and purpose, urging an answer that lay just beyond the horizon. As Joseph stood before his brothers, a silence heavy with unspoken words enveloped them. Their hearts raced, fear and guilt intertwining like a frayed rope. They could scarcely comprehend the profound reality of the moment. The very brother they had cast aside now commanded them. "I beseech you," Joseph continued, his voice infused with both authority and tenderness, "come closer, that I might speak to you." Tentatively, the brothers stepped forward, their eyes locking with his, searching for signs of wrath or vengeance. Instead, they found only a profound sorrow mingled with hope. "I am your brother, Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt," he revealed, each word cutting through the fabric of their memories. His gaze pierced deeply into their hearts, unearthing the shadows they had long buried. In that moment, their eyes filled with tears, a torrent of anguish and relief. "Joseph, is it truly you?" they trembled, echoing the disbelief of reunion. "Do not be troubled," he said gently, extending his arms, revealing the grace of forgiveness. "For God has sent me before you to preserve life." His statement rang true, resonating with the very essence of God's providence. He spoke of the famine that had broken forth, of the years foreseen in dreams,
and how through his seemingly wrongful imprisonment, God had orchestrated his rise to power. 2 years of famine remain, Joseph declared, yet here I stand, not as an enemy, but as God's servant, tasked with the salvation of many. The brothers fell to their knees, overcome with the weight of their regret and the light of divine mercy. Forgive us, O brother, we failed you, we wronged you, they cried, each confession laden with remorse. Joseph, still filled with compassion, lifted them from the ground. What you intended for evil, God transformed for our good. This moment is more than what you see. It is a fulfillment of His promise spoken from the beginning. His words resonated with the truth of Genesis 50:20, compelling them to understand that their family's trials had been woven into God's greater tapestry. My father must know that I live, Joseph said, guiding his brothers to tell their father Jacob of the great work God had accomplished through their trials. Go quickly and bring him here. I will provide for you and your families. With his words igniting hope in their hearts, the brothers hurried back to Canaan, carrying news that would heal the wounds of their father. They traveled with great speed, for the distance between despair and joy, between sin and redemption, had diminished. As Jacob received their message, the shock rippled through him. His beloved son still lived. His spirit revived as he set forth to Egypt, longing to embrace Joseph. What joy awaited him could not be measured. Meanwhile, Joseph prepared a grand welcome in Egypt, gathering provisions and a place of refuge for his family. His heart flourished at the thought of reconciliation, for God's purpose was at hand. His sovereign plan in motion, shaping a nation through the lineage of Abraham. And thus, as they reunited, embraced in tears of joy, the echo of God's faithfulness enveloped them. Would the family, once torn apart by bitterness, stand together in strength to fulfill the promise made to their ancestors? As the numbers of Israel multiplied in Egypt, the shadow of another divine twist loomed ever nearer, a chapter yet unwritten in the unfolding of God's good purposes. What trials and triumphs awaited them in the land of promise, under the watchful hand of divine providence? The tapestry of future generations would soon reveal answers beyond their present understanding. And it came to pass that, as Jacob traveled towards Egypt with a heart full of hope, the night stretched long before him. He took comfort in the promise that God had bestowed upon him, the promise made to his grandfather Abraham, and now renewing it through Joseph, who stood as a beacon of hope in a foreign land. Upon their arrival in the land of Goshen, the brothers stood before their father, their faces aglow with the miraculous news. "Father, rejoice," they proclaimed, for they bore witness to the truth that Joseph was indeed alive. Their words cascaded over Jacob like a soothing balm upon his wounded spirit. Yet Jacob's heart trembled at the thought. "Is it really my son Joseph?" he asked, their reunion now intertwined with a touch of disbelief, a lingering shadow of the past. Thus they unfolded the tale of Joseph's rise to power, recounting the dreams and the famine that had brought them to this moment. And when Jacob heard the words of his sons, his spirit revived. And he said, "It is enough. Joseph, my son, is yet alive. I will go and see him before I die." His longing to embrace Joseph pulsed through him like a river, compelling his weary bones onward. As Jacob approached the throne, Joseph, adorned in the finest garments, ran to him and fell upon his neck, weeping with joy. "Father," he cried, "I live." Their tears mingled as they embraced, two hearts reunited, healed from the wounds that once tore them apart. The news of their reunion spread quickly throughout Egypt, and Pharaoh himself rejoiced, granting Jacob and his family the best of the land. "Let them settle in Goshen," Pharaoh commanded, "for they shall eat the fat of the land." And thus the family of Jacob flourished, nurtured by the grace that God had woven into Joseph's journey. In the years to come, They would prosper in Egypt. The children of Israel multiplied abundantly, and in their growth they bore the weight of destiny upon their shoulders. God's promise to Abraham was unfolding. Even in a land not promised, preparations were being established for the deliverance of a people. But in the shadows of prosperity, a new king arose, one who did not remember Joseph. He looked upon Israel and saw a burgeoning threat. "The people of Israel are too many and too mighty for us," he proclaimed to his council. "Let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they rise against us." Fear gripped the heart of Egypt as they began to afflict the children of Israel with burdensome labor, making them slaves, hoping to diminish their strength. Yet in this oppression, God's hand was yet present, securing the legacy of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for he would not forsake his people. Meanwhile, in Goshen, Jacob grew old, surrounded by his sons who had experienced forgiveness and grace like no other. He understood that the tapestry of their lives was still being woven, and he discerned the call of God was far from fulfilled. "Gather your children," he said, addressing his sons, "for I have words to impart that shall guide you through the coming darkness. I shall reveal to you the future God has ordained for our family and nation." As he spoke, the weighty silence embraced them, their hearts poised for revelation. And, unbeknownst to them, the clock of divine promise ticked forward, displaying that the time was nearing when their oppression would give birth to a liberation greater than they could imagine. What deliverance was brewing in the heart of God? The answer lingered on the horizon, cloaked in mystery, yet rich with hope. His sovereign plan was unfolding. And it came to pass, as Jacob gathered his sons and their families, that the air in Goshen thickened with expectation. The twilight hours cast long shadows, yet the hearts of men were illuminated by hope and divine purpose. Jacob, leaning heavily upon his staff, summoned the strength of a patriarch. "My beloved sons," he began, his voice
Steady, yet threaded with the tremor of age. "The hand of the Almighty has led us here. It is He who turned the course of our lives from the pit and from despair to this fruitful land." His sons, attentive as the winds which bend to the will of the heavens, leaned forward, sensing the weight of their father's words. They had known trials and the sting of separation, but now they stood on the edge of revelation. "For days of darkness are approaching, and they will test your faith like fire refines gold." Jacob's gaze pierced through the gathering dusk. "Even now, Pharaoh's heart is hardened against us. He seeks to subjugate my descendants, and he will lay heavy burdens upon your shoulders." As he spoke, the edges of the night seemed sharper, reflecting the ominous truth of his declarations. Yet deep within Jacob's heart flickered a flame of divine promise. "But hear me, children. I have seen a vision from the God of my fathers. He has sworn by his name that our suffering shall not end in despair. Remember the covenant made to Abraham," Jacob continued, "how he was promised nations and kings. Your future, dear sons, stretches far beyond this land. From your loins shall emerge a great nation, a people whose stories will echo through the ages." The brothers exchanged glances, and in that moment the bond of their shared destiny solidified. Amidst the oppressive rule of Egypt, they sensed the pulse of divine truth, hope amidst hardship. "For within you God shall raise a deliverer. He will free us from the chains of bondage and lead us into the land promised to our forefathers. But first, we must endure the trials ahead," Jacob warned, his voice a mix of sorrow and strength. As night deepened, he called for Joseph, his favorite son, who had borne the weight of their family's curse and blessing alike. "Joseph, you are a vessel for God's mighty works. He has placed you in this position for his divine purpose. Through you, many shall be saved."
Joseph, filled with reverence, knelt before Jacob, his heart swelling with gratitude, but tempered with the burden of responsibility. "I shall do all that my God commands," he vowed, eyes fixed upon his father. "His ways are higher than my ways." In that sacred moment, Jacob's heart soared with faith. Yet an unseen darkness loomed. The king of Egypt, flanked by his advisors, pondered on the growing multitude of Israel with wicked intent. The sorrow deepened in their hearts, for they sensed the storm gathering, and the air became thick with foreboding. And God, from his heavenly throne, observed all that unfolded. He saw the tears of his people, and he heard their cries in the night. For he was ever faithful, and though here in darkness they may dwell, the dawn of redemption awaited just beyond the horizon. "Yet know this," Jacob spoke, his frail voice now rising, "the time shall come when the Lord
will unleash his power upon Egypt like a mighty tempest. We shall be a people who walk out of bondage into freedom, a freedom promised to us from generations past." As the family gathered close, hope and uncertainty wrestled within their hearts, and unknowns loomed large. While their bodies were in Goshen, their spirits were already traversing the distance toward deliverance. What would it take to set the captives free? What miracle lay ahead, hidden and waiting in God's sovereign plan? The answer, shrouded in divine mystery, lurked in the promise of a new day. And it came to pass, in the stillness of the night, that the stars blinked into existence one by one, as if responding to the whispered prayers of the faithful. The heart of Jacob beat with the weight of solemn duty, and he felt the heavy shroud of destiny weave its threads around his family. "Gather close to me, my sons," Jacob urged, his voice growing more fervent as the darkness enveloped them. "As the sun rises in the east, so too shall the promises of God rise upon us. Our lineage is marked by the grace of the Almighty, and though the path ahead is fraught with peril, we must be steadfast in our trust." Around him, his sons felt the burn of holy fire igniting in their spirits. Ephraim and Manasseh, the children of Joseph, clung to the knees of their grandfather, eyes wide with innocent wonder. Reuben, the firstborn, bore the weight of the family's legacy upon his shoulders. Yet he listened closely, his heart stirred by the prospect of their future. "Remember the covenant sworn to our forefather Abraham," Jacob implored, "how he was promised not merely land, but a multitude as numerous as the stars in the sky. We are the heirs of that divine promise, and you shall see the day when nations rise from your loins, and kings shall emerge." The brothers nodded, their hearts ignited by the sacred flame of their heritage. They had witnessed the hand of God in the life of Joseph, how he had risen from the depths of despair to the heights of favor. Could it be that their future mirrored the path of their brother, a narrative penned by the hand of providence? But beneath the surface of their hope lurked the dark clouds of Pharaoh's heart. The ruler of Egypt spoke with venomous intent to his advisors. "The people of Israel multiply, and they pose a threat to our reign," he declared, his voice low and steely. "Let us act swiftly and bind them to labor without mercy. Their hands shall toil for us, and they shall forget their God." Unbeknownst to Pharaoh, the Almighty orchestrated a grand tapestry within the shadows of earthly powers. For God's purposes will stand firm, and his plans cannot be thwarted by the frail wills of men. "Soon we shall see the mighty hand of God," Jacob continued, sensing the tremors of impending conflict. "He shall raise a man of valor to lead us out of this land of bondage. Yet I urge you, my sons, to remain faithful in tribulation." In close quarters, the brothers murmured assurance to one another. "We will not falter," said Judah, his voice steady. "We are brave men, for we believe the promises of our God."
Amid their exchange, Joseph remained contemplative, for he understood the burden of leadership. His heart was heavy with the destiny that awaited him. "I will act according to God's will," he spoke softly, "but I first must prepare my heart for what lies ahead." The night deepened, and as silence enveloped them, a gentle light flickered in the distance. Surely, the dawn of deliverance was drawing near. In that sacred moment, the heavens stirred, and the voice of God reverberated in Jacob's spirit. "Fear not, my faithful servant, for I shall stretch out my hand, and the oppressor shall be brought low. A singular seed of hope shall burst forth, and through him my name shall be glorified." As the family absorbed these divine revelations, the earth trembled ever so slightly, echoing with the promise of change. What would this mighty deliverance look like? What courage would it require? In the stillness of that night, their faith intertwined with a divine mystery, awaiting the revelation that would change the course of their history forever. They were on the precipice of a great awakening, even as the shadows mustered before them. And it came to pass, in the dawning light of a new day, that the weight of anticipation grew upon the hearts of Jacob's sons. Each one felt the stirring of something greater within them, as though the promise of God beckoned from beyond the horizon. Jacob, steadfast in his faith, called upon the memories of the covenant made with Abraham, reiterating the charge to his family. "Behold, the Lord has spoken, and his words are life," Jacob declared, his voice quaking with resolve. "To Joseph I have entrusted your dreams, which shall lead you and your brethren towards his divine purpose. For the dreams of a man of God are seeds that bear fruit in unexpected seasons." Joseph stood, listening intently, his heart aflame with visions of how his journey had been the thread weaving them all together. "Fathers and brothers," he spoke with fervor, "the trials we have endured have molded us. I have seen the high places of Egypt and tasted the bitterness of bondage, but through it all I have learned that our God does not abandon his own." Meanwhile, across the land of Egypt, the decree of Pharaoh spread like wildfire among his people. "Let us subdue and burden the Israelites," he commanded, as shadows crept over the fertile plains of Goshen. "They shall build cities, and through toil they shall know their place." And in those moments, the Israelites felt the chains of oppression begin to close in upon them. They labored long into the day, catching glimpses of sun that once lit their ancestors' path. Yet within the heart of the people, the embers of hope remained alive. Mothers whispered promises of deliverance to their children, while fathers bore the weight of their labor with prayerful hearts. In the quiet solitude of his tent, Jacob bowed low in supplication. "O Lord, strengthen our spirit," he cried. "Release the bonds that tie us, and shine your light upon us in these days of darkness. We trust in your mighty hand." And at that moment, as Jacob's cries ascended, a whisper filled the air, a promise confirmed by the Lord, echoing in the hearts of many. "I hear your cries, and I shall be your deliverance," the voice assured him, resonating through the encampment like the sound of mighty waters. The presence of God was palpable, and even the winds seemed to still in reverence. Jacob raised his eyes toward the heavens and felt the profound assurance of a divine plan writing itself upon their journey. It was not mere circumstance that his family had endured the trials of famine and strife. This was the sovereign story of redemption unfolding. As the sun rose higher, casting rays of warmth upon their weary faces, Jacob gathered his sons once more. "The hand of God is upon us. He has ordained a path through which our salvation shall come. Do not lose hope, for soon a deliverer shall rise, one who shall guide us from darkness into light." Joseph, moved by his father's words, felt the weight of divine calling rest heavily upon him. "I shall not falter, nor shall I fear, for I know my destiny lies ahead. Through my trials, he has refined me like gold in the fire. I am ready to stand in the gap." Yet the shadows thickened as night fell once more on the land of Egypt. The hearts of Pharaoh's advisors schemed and plotted, unaware that their dark intentions were setting the stage for an even greater revelation of God's glory among his people. Thus, in the midst of hardship and uncertainty, a seed of hope was planted, and wisdom began to whisper of prophecies yet fulfilled. What would this deliverance look like? Time would unravel the threads of God's sovereign plan as the tapestry of his grace awaited to be revealed. And it came to pass that in the days that followed, the burden upon the hearts of Jacob's sons grew heavier. The oppression of the Egyptians became a daily reminder of their plight, and the songs of joy that once filled their homes were replaced with cries of anguish. As they labored under the sun's fierce gaze, the harsh taskmaster's whip cracked in the air, echoing their despair. Yet, in the midst of sorrow, the words of their father lingered in their spirits, a beacon of hope in their trials. The dreams that Joseph carried spoke of a future unmarred by chains, of a time when their cries would be transformed into shouts of joy.
Joy. One evening, while tending to the flocks, Joseph withdrew to a solitary place, and there he poured out his heart to the Lord. "O God of my fathers, how do I lead my family from this valley of shadows? Give me strength, for I feel the weight of destiny pressing upon my soul." And lo, the night sky was filled with stars, each a testimony of God's covenant promise. Joseph felt the warmth of divine presence wrap around him as a mantle, and he marveled at the mysteries of the heavens. It was then that he received a vision of a great deliverance, of a holy calling that would rise from the dust of despair. Meanwhile, in the court of Pharaoh, the mood grew darker. Unbeknownst to the king, his edicts stirred the heart of the Almighty. "Who is this God that they speak of?" Pharaoh scoffed. Yet, as he gazed across the land, the brisk wind carried forth murmurs of discontent among the Israelites. Pharaoh summoned his wise men and sorcerers, saying, "Let us harden their hearts and press them into deeper servitude. For if they remain united, they may rise against us." Thus began a new decree, harsher than the last, a test of their endurance. As whispers of rebellion stirred throughout the ranks of the enslaved, a shrewd plan emerged. Levi, one of Jacob's sons, gathered the tribesmen at twilight. "Brothers, we shall not succumb to their oppression. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob hears our cries. He will raise up a deliverer among us." And as they spoke, their faith rekindled like a flame in the night, inspiring hope within their weary souls. The message took root, spreading among the people as a swelling tide of expectation. Back in the land of Goshen, Jacob felt the stirring of revival within his family. "The time is drawing near," he declared one evening, his voice resonating with urgency. "The Lord shall act for us. Our trials are but a prelude to his mighty works. Even now, his hand is setting the stage for our deliverance." As the stars shimmered overhead, Joseph received another vision. This time, he discerned a figure amidst the shadows, a messenger of hope standing at the edge of his dreams. "Fear not, Joseph. You are a vessel of God's promise. He is preparing a way through the furnace of affliction." In that moment, Joseph understood that the path ahead would not be easy, but the love of God would guide him through the darkest of valleys. Thus, in the silent hours before dawn, as the children of Israel clung to their hope and awaited God's salvation, the stage was set for the fulfillment of a promise that would echo through generations, the emergence of a leader who would lead the captives out of darkness into his marvelous light. What form would this deliverance take? Only the unfolding of time would reveal the fullness of God's sovereign plan, intertwining the destinies of nations in the grand design of his glory. And it came to pass that the cries of the Israelites rose up to heaven, carrying with them the weight of generations yearning for deliverance. Day after day, they toiled under the sweltering sun, casting their prayers into the heavens as a desperate offering. Their hearts were heavy, yet within them, a flicker of hope ignited at the thought of divine intervention.
In the quiet hours of the night, Joseph continued to seek the Lord earnestly, bringing forth before him the burdens of his family and the plight of his people. "O Almighty God," he cried, "Thou who didst lead our fathers by a pillar of fire and cloud, send thy light into this darkness. Raise up a leader from among us to deliver us from the grasp of the Egyptians." As his lament filled the stillness, an extraordinary stillness enveloped the land, as if creation held its breath. And the Lord answered him, speaking gently yet profoundly, "I have heard the cries of my people, and I will remember my covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For their offspring shall be a great nation, and they shall be my people." Simultaneously, in the heart of Pharaoh's court, the air thickened with tension. Pharaoh, unaware of the stirrings among the enslaved people, continued to harden his heart. "Bring more burdens upon them," he commanded, thinking to break their spirit. Little did he know, each lash of the whip only served to fortify their resolve, igniting a smoldering flame of rebellion in their hearts. In the hushed murmurs of night, Levi gathered the leaders of the tribes once more. "Brothers," he began, his voice steady and filled with fervor, "the hour is at hand for us to unite and cry out to our Lord. He who delivered our forefathers in times past shall surely do so again. Let us prepare our hearts and ready ourselves, for God is moving." Word spread like wildfire throughout the encampments of Israel. Boldness rose among the people as they cast aside their fear, echoing Levi's rallying cry, "Together we shall rise, together we shall endure." But amidst this burgeoning courage, Joseph's heart ached with uncertainty. He sensed a great weight upon him, knowledge of a destiny both glorious and grim. In the solitude of his prayers, another vision dawned upon him. He saw the faces of his brothers, weary yet kindled with the fire of faith. And in that moment, the true nature of God's plan was revealed. Not only was he destined to be their deliverer, but he would also bear the sorrows of a nation against the backdrop of great trial and tribulation. "Behold," the voice spoke again from the vision, "you shall lead them out of bondage, but know that the journey shall be fraught with peril. For Pharaoh's heart shall harden, and the way shall be long." Joseph's heart trembled with both fear and faith. He returned to his family, gathering them close.
"The Lord has spoken," he declared, his voice trembling with divine conviction. "A deliverance is at hand, but we must endure until the appointed time. God's promise is sure, and his power shall be made manifest." Across Egypt, the signs of restlessness marked the air, and among the people of Israel, anticipation brewed like a storm gathering strength. The promise of deliverance loomed on the horizon, but with it came the shadow of resistance. What triumphs and trials awaited them in their pursuit of freedom, and how would they confront the fierce opposition of Pharaoh? As their hearts raced with hope, the questions lingered like the whispers of the night, drawing them ever closer to the heart of God's sovereign plan. Only the unfolding of events could reveal the true magnificence of his purpose, woven into the very fabric of their deliverance. And it came to pass that, in the fullness of time, the cries of the Israelites reached the throne of heaven, stirring the heart of the Almighty. Each lament, each prayer, and each tear fell like rain upon parched soil, awakening the promise long spoken to their forefathers, the promise that their deliverance would come. Joseph, burdened but resolute, stood ready to lead. He sensed the winds of change blowing strong, ushering in a moment of divine intervention. "Brothers," he implored as they gathered, "prepare your hearts. For the Lord has called us to rise from these ashes, and we shall walk in faith towards freedom." The day dawned with a sense of urgency as the Israelites united in spirit and purpose. Through the oppression and trials of labor, they found strength in the hope of a promised deliverance.
As the overseers of Pharaoh's harsh grasp continued to weigh heavily upon them, each man and woman lifted their dreams of freedom to the heavens. Meanwhile, in the court of Pharaoh, the king became restless. "Why do they cry out for their God?" he uttered with contempt, dismissing the murmurs of hope among the Israelites as mere folly. "Shall I let them go?" he laughed, oblivious to the power of the divine. But God had already begun to move, stirring his heart towards resistance, preparing the ground for the miracle about to unfold. And thus it was that Moses, a mere infant once hidden, now embarked upon the destiny God had whispered into the heavens. The earthly courts would soon witness a divine showdown as Moses stood before Pharaoh, armed not with a sword, but with the authority of the Most High. "Let my people go," he declared, his voice ringing through the chambers with a boldness that echoed divine purpose. Pharaoh, perched on his throne of arrogance, scoffed at the command. "Who is this Lord that I should heed his voice?" His refusal echoed through the land, but the Lord's resolve would not waver. God's hand was poised to bring forth judgment upon Egypt, manifesting his signs and wonders. Thus the plagues began, cascading over the land. Water turned to blood, swarms of locusts unleashed, and darkness enveloped the sun. Each decree of defiance against God met with a powerful display of heavenly might, causing hearts to tremble and knees to bow. A challenge to the false gods of Egypt. The Egyptians reeled in terror, but Pharaoh's heart remained hardened. But amidst the chaos, the children of Israel gazed upwards, witnessing the hand of God at work. The air was charged with faith, and hope sparked like wildfire among their ranks, solidifying their resolve. Through this strife, Joseph, alongside Moses, led the way forward, reminding the people of the promise that the Almighty had made. "For I know the plans I have for you," he echoed with fervor, "plans to prosper you and not to harm you." God has called us from the depths of despair to a land flowing with milk and honey. And sooner than any would comprehend came the final plague, the death of the firstborn. Fear gripped the heart of Egypt, but the children of Israel, marked by the blood of the Lamb, witnessed the protection of the Lord. "Tonight a great deliverance shall be upon us," Joseph proclaimed, hope radiating from his heart. When the dawn broke, a new day arose for Israel. Pharaoh summoned Moses and pleaded with him, "Go, take your people and leave." Gambling with pride had cost Pharaoh dearly, yet he estimated the price wrong. The Israelites would leave not as entrants, but as victors, carrying with them treasures from their oppressors. As the people gathered, Joseph led them forth towards the sea, the fear of the unknown looming ahead, yet they walked with hearts tremoring in awe of God's unfailing promise. "Fear not," he cried, standing against the mountain of water, "for the Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace." When it seemed all deliverance was lost, God parted the waters, and the Israelites walked on dry ground, led by faith and the divine hand of the Almighty. Each step onto the seabed resonated with the reality of salvation, the wondrous power of God unfurling in the shadows of despair. Upon reaching the other side, they turned to see the tremendous waves crashing down upon their enemies. Confident in his mighty hand, they erupted in song, praise cascading from their lips, echoing through the heavens. "Sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously," they rejoiced, the sound resonating in the very fabric of heaven. In this moment, a new identity was born. No longer were they merely descendants of Abraham, they were now but chosen people, called to be a light among nations. Through their trials, God had carved their paths, forging them into a legacy of faith and perseverance. Joseph, standing among the throng, smiled through tears, for he recognized the beauty of God's intricate plan unveiled. The restoration of a family, the deliverance of a nation. They stood together, bound in purpose, the promise of their forebearers realized in their very lives. And it came
to pass that, as they journeyed toward the promised land, the echoes of their past served as foundations for their future. What trials would lie ahead, and what wonders awaited them in the land God had prepared? The answer lay in the trust of those who believed, in the unfailing love of a God whose plan was far greater than they could fathom. And to you who have witnessed this wondrous tale, know that the stories of God's faithfulness continue to unfold even today. Do not wait another moment to subscribe to the channel and immerse yourself in the depths of His Word. Like this video now to share this powerful testimony of God's love and grace. Your comments are a beacon of light, uplifting others as we share in communal faith. Let us know how this story has impacted your spirit. And do not hesitate. Share this video with friends who seek truth, for together we carry the light of hope forward, reaching many souls for Christ.